your government, the government of the UK, and the government of France are working on a resolution to try to get authority from the United Nations Security Council. Yesterday, the Gulf countries said that they would support a no-fly zone. The Arab League said they would not object to a no-fly zone.
You would support it?
Well, we want to see the international community support it. I think it's very important.
You would support
well, but I think it's very important that this not be a U.S. led effort, because this comes from the people of Libya themselves. This doesn't come from the outside. This doesn't come from, some Western power or some, Gulf country saying this is what you should do, this is how you should live.
Of course, but you've talked about the other countries involved. Right. In theory, the U.S. would support a no-fly zone?
We are going to support the efforts that are being made, because we think that the people of Libya themselves have to be supported. And we know how difficult this struggle is. We've called for Colonel Gaddafi to leave. We believe that he has totally given up any legitimacy to power. When a leader turns against his own people, that is the end. But we know that there's a long road ahead for being able to try to resolve this. We'd like to see this resolved peacefully. We'd like to see him go peacefully. We would like to see, a new government come peacefully. But if that's not possible, then we're going to work with the international community. Now, there are countries that do not agree with that.
Sure.
And so, and we think it's important that the United Nations make this decision, not the United States. And so far, the United Nations has not done that.
What about lifting the embargo, the arms embargo, and supporting the rebels? Is that something that might...
Well, I think everything is being looked at, but it is difficult in the midst of this civil conflict that is going on now to even know how you would do that, because right now it's not clear what part of the country is actually under rebel control. We know the east is, but how much in the middle? And then we've got Gaddafi. So my only point is we are working really hard every day with the international community, and we are very pleased that the Gulf states and the Arab League, which before had not supported any kind of action, have now said that they could do so if the United Nations agrees.
How might the Middle East look differently, do you think, if more women like this were in power there?
Well, we are looking at women from the Middle East and elsewhere who are working toward making the changes that will respect all people and will give women in the societies there and around the world an equal chance to live up to their own God-given potential. It's not only the Middle East, it's in Africa, it's in Asia, it's in Latin America, even in parts of my own country, where it still takes courage to break out of old ways of thinking, to change attitudes, to empower people to stand up for themselves.
You are a role model for Western women. You have a successful career. You're an engaged mother. Can women have it all?
Well, I think no person can have it all, man or woman. You have to make choices in your life. You have to prioritize. But at different stages of your life, there may be opportunities. When I look back on my life now, I have friends who became mothers when they were 17 or 18, and I have friends who became mothers when they were 40 or 45, because in today's modern world, there is so much more open to women than there used to be. I have always believed that women's rights means supporting women in making responsible decisions for themselves and their families.
Women like Agnes have to work with people whose politics are very different to our own, certainly. How challenging is it for you to admire a Republican woman like Sarah Palin, who, while you don't necessarily agree with her politics, can you accept what she's achieved?
It's very easy for me, because I admire women, and Agnes is a perfect example, who have gone into the political process in her case and has been successful. And I don't have to agree with everything, but I think it's important you respect those choices, because going into politics is not for everyone. I enjoyed my time in politics. I admire people in my country who have also gone into politics. But I also admire lawyers who stand up for human rights, and I don't always agree with them. Or I admire journalists who stand up for the free press, and I don't always agree with them. So I think it's perfectly understandable that on particulars we might not always agree.
But sometimes do you not just listen to what women that you don't agree with politically are on TV, and you just want to throw something at the TV?
No, because I have had to,
I know I do.
I've had to listen to men for years who I don't agree with. so I've gotten very accustomed to that. No, I mean, I can disagree with someone and still, respect them and still, exchange, greetings and jokes with them.
But I just wonder whether young women now will have to struggle as much as we did in order to make their mark. Have we done the hard work for Chelsea's generation?
Well, I think that we've done a lot of the work, but I don't think the work is ever done. You know that old saying, a woman's work is never done? Well, it's not only true in the house, where it never seems ever to be completed. There's always a meal to prepare, to clean up after, to, dust and take care of the home. It never ends. Well, I think that's true in the world as well, that there are those who would like to turn the clock back on women. And these women, in their own ways, each of them is standing up against that, because we don't yet have universal agreement that women should be educated, that women should have health care, that women should work outside the home, that women are equal to men. We don't have universal agreement on that. So until there is, we have a lot of work to do.
On a lighter note as well, ladies, if you'll allow me, we have a royal wedding coming up in
the
UK, just around the corner. What advice, as a recent mother of the bride, would you give to Kate and Mrs. Middleton?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I can only tell you that the wedding itself was wonderful, but the preparations, and I'm sure that they're feeling some of the same, can be stressful, because you want it to be the most perfect day in your daughter's life, and you just do everything you can to make it so. But my advice is just enjoy it. Enjoy it, because it's the most extraordinary experience to see your daughter marrying someone who loves her, who wants to take care of her, and you just want to be part of their happiness.
And will you be watching it on TV?
Of course, of course. I love weddings.